This is part one of building the wall, and has this been a learning experience? Who you start with is not necessarily who you finish with. What we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into the first visit to the site, what we're doing on the property and how we're doing things. Boom! What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American. And if you wanna know what it's like to build a house in Africa, then this is the video for you. All right, cool. So this is part 4 of Building a House in Africa series. This is a series I'm doing about the process that I'm going through building my house in Sierra Leone. So this is video 4, but this is Building the Wall part 1. So this is kind of a mini series, a part of the larger series of building this house in Africa. So this is part 1 of Building the Wall. And man, has this been a learning experience? Let me just start by saying, I teased it in the last video. I did mention that who you start with is not necessarily who you finish with. And so I built this wall with a contractor. We went through all 4 phases of the process for building the wall. It's not complete yet, but it's mostly done. And we went through it with a contractor. But let's rewind back to what happened in the very beginning. So really quickly, as I mentioned in the last video, part 3, I had to go through a process of vetting the different contractors that I was going to decide to go with. I chose this guy for many different reasons, which I explained in the last video, but really it was mostly the fact that he was a family member. He had built his own properties. It looked like he had the aesthetic of the properties that I wanted, the style that I wanted. And so I knew that he was competent enough to build what I needed, and he owned his own equipment. So that removed some of the costs that it costs usually to work with some people who rent equipment. So with all of those things, I said, okay, this probably is the right guy for me. He was also right around my age, so I felt like, you know, he had a modern look and feel to what he was trying to do, and I thought he was going to be able to build what I needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the first visit to the site, where I'm going to walk you through what we had to do beforehand to get started, and then I'm going to have him talk about what we're doing on the property and how we're doing things. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Check it out. All right, so I'm going to walk you through what we have done. So the first thing is over here, point over here. So this was the old board house, or bodos, like 200 years old house. I mean, it was about 3 stories high. It had a basement, and 2 different basement units, and had an upstairs unit, and it had an attic. So we had to tear that down to make space for the house. What else used to be here was a giant tree back here. So you can see that tree stump back there? So that tree had to come down so that we could make space for the property. So everything that came from the property is here. So you see the ball stones here. There's some cement back there. So that's what we've done so far. Now what we're looking to do is actually start the process of building the wall. We call it a fence here, but it's going to be about a 10-foot high wall, cement retaining wall underneath, and then blocks above. And so it's going to go around 3 sides. As you can see on the other side there, point the camera over there to the corner. You can see that the next door neighbor started a wall already. And then our wall will be something like this. You see across the street, they have a wall around their property. We will have something like that around the property here. So if you look here, these guys are making some space, but there's going to be a wall that goes all the way along here, one across the front of the property, and then one across the back of the property. And then all of it will have drainage. So when the water comes down, come up here, it goes all the way down and out to the street. All right, that's it for now. In a second, we'll talk to Sammy about all the different stages of the process, and he'll walk us through exactly how they're going to clear all of this stuff, build some blocks, also drop off some sand here so that they can do all of that work. All right, so that's it for now. All right, guys, so the third thing that we had to do, so I walked through, we had to tear down the house, we had to cut down the tree, and the other thing we had to do was build what they call a pan body, which is a temporary storage and temporary housing for the caretaker. So on the left-hand side is the temporary housing place. There's a little veranda here. Oh, come with me. And then this here is the storage unit where we store all the cement, everything that can't be outside because it can't be out in the elements, get rained on. So we'll come and look at it. There's no light inside, but you can see the cement's in here. Come over here. The cement bags, and we're gonna actually add maybe another 100 bags of cement. So those are all gonna be sitting right there. And then if you look in here, that is where the workers that are working here, they're going to be sleeping over there. So this is their home for the next 45 days while this gets built. the caretaker is going to be staying here, and this is their whole like space. So you have to make sure that these guys stay out of their space, but this is where they'll be staying. We built this in April. This is supposed to last until at least the boys' quarters is finished. Hope it lasts. Right? It'll last. So this will be here for the next like year or so while we work to build the boys' quarters. And then eventually we'll tear this down and maybe we'll reuse some of these materials on the boys' quarters or on the house. We had this whole thing built in less than 30 days. So all the cement was added here. So the cement's used for the ground. They use tin and they use sticks, tree branches to kind of be the structural elements. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to walk you through the photos. All right, what's up, guys? So I'm here with Sammy. Sammy is the one who's overseeing this entire process. Sammy, what's the name of your company again?
Prologue.
So Sammy and I talked a bunch of different times about what needed to be done here. He's come and seen the site. And so, he gave a lot of good advice, not only the site in terms of, clearing it and doing everything we need to do to get ready to build the fence, but then also, we've also started to talk about what we should do in terms of the house. So on that note, can you walk us through what they're doing now? And if you could show the camera to them.
All right, so basically we just on a bit of a site prep. So basically when you first come out to the site, you're trying to get all your materials out and also trying to clear the ground to make room for manufacturing of concrete blocks. And just a bit of preparation today before we actually start the hard work. So you see the guys now, they're trying to level out the ground to make some space. We're gonna level out all of these stones and level out all the stones and also the heap that they're putting down. We're trying to level that out. So when we manufacture blocks, they're on a level ground.
Okay. And how many guys do you have here?
So right now we have about 6 guys here, and we're probably going to be adding another 2 to 4 people. So probably have 10 people around here on site just to speed up the work a bit. I mean, the client wants it to be done a little bit faster, so we're going to try and accommodate as much as we can without compromising our standards.
Nice. And then in terms of the stages, right, there's 4 main stages of building this fence, right? So the first part is excavating, right?
So clearing and excavation is your first phase that you do, which is going to be along the border wall. My engineer that's here, he's already walked the land, and so have I, and we've identified a few things that we're gonna have to take care of. But you first excavate. After excavating, you first then after that you get what you call your substructure, which is like your foundation where it needs to be built. While you do that, the next stage would be to manufacture blocks for your fence, because you need that. Without that takes a couple of days at least just to start the clearing process. And then after that, you start building your foundation for the wall. After building your foundation, you put in your columns and pillars, which is your next step, just to make sure that you have your pillar locations identified. And from there, you put in your reinforcement. After putting in your reinforcement, you start building your substructure, which is the wall of itself. And from there, your final stage would be now just to concrete your pillars, which gives it a good binding. Some people after that, maybe you can take some further steps if you want to plaster your wall, or if you want to put a parapet, which is on top of the wall, just to protect it from water seeping in. But that's an additional stage which people do later.
Yeah. And then a gate, of course, for the entrance.
Yeah, of course. Putting in the gate is usually after you put in your pillars and it's dry. Right. You actually have to wait on that, because you can't just go banging on your pillars once you just made them. Yes, if you have your gate and it's your permanent gate that you're going to put in, you can actually tie it in with the 2 concrete pillars that are at the gate, which means you can weld them in and have it there, and then you concrete and it's reinforced. But most times people don't do that. You pick your style of your gate towards the end. Right. You usually put up a temporary structure, so it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Right. You have someone sleeping here too, which they'll work with all of them and they'll be sleeping here, so they'll wake. Sleep, work.
Yeah, that's an important piece.
Which is an important.
Yeah, so they're going to be staying in the storage unit over there, so you can point to it. So you see, the right-hand side is an entire storage unit where they'll be staying. So there's mattresses and they'll have food in there and everything. So that's where they'll stay. So they'll be able to work morning and night to get this done in time. And then the last thing, if you come back to us, is potentially maybe even putting barbed wire on the top, right? Some people do that. Yeah. I know we haven't talked about that yet, but it just came up in my conversations with the second boss. So we might have to talk about that. But, some people put glass in the cement at the top and barbed wire. So we should talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can. That's an option. I mean, it's a security option. I mean, some people even put electrical fencing around. Right. On top. I mean, it's all a matter of, what you want and how secure you want to feel around your compound.
Yeah. And the wall's going to be 10 feet high, right?
Yeah.
Basically 10 feet all the way around. So 10 feet from the outside in. So in some cases, it may not be 10 feet from the inside, right? Just because the ground here might be a little bit higher than outside. But as long as it's 10 feet that people can't get in, that's the most important part. So that's what we're going to do. So it's going to be 10 feet all the way around.
As you say, you want to keep people out from coming in, not people in from going out.
Right, exactly.
So,
exactly. All right, cool. So that's it for now. I think what we'll do is we'll be coming back and filming as progress is being made. We'll do different updates like this with Sammy along the way. All right, guys. As you can see, the work's already started. What they're doing is clearing this out of the way so that they have a place to build the blocks. So the blocks are going to be, I think, 6 inches high by about a foot wide. And these are going to be the blocks that are the top part of the wall. So there's going to be a full cement retaining wall at the bottom. And then the top part of it will be cement blocks. So they're going to actually build the cement blocks here on the property. So they're finding a place that's going to be flat enough for them to do that. So when the house was tore down originally, all of the materials that came from that house, what they call the ball stones, kind of thrown off to the side. So now these guys have to take them back and throw them over here. But they're kind of taking their time as they go through it because snakes live in there. So they just need to make sure they don't get bit by any snakes or anything. So they're going through and doing that now. So, but you can see how efficient they are. It's taking less than 20 minutes to move a giant pile that was up here. Almost more than half of it's done. So within the next 20 minutes or so, this should be cleared, and then they can have a space to begin building blocks. Yeah, that's it for now.
See the gate, get it fixed on this way. See,
Mm-hmm.
we end up on one side.
Yeah, the gate's gonna be here. Yeah. And then we'll go in that way. All right, what's up, guys? So we're back at the site. As you can see, a lot has changed since the last time we were here. And the last time we were here, they were just clearing the space so they could build some blocks. They've already built over 1,000 blocks. You can see the block here. And they are digging the trenches here so they can actually put the wall here. So because this goes up on the slope, you can see that they put cement at different levels so that they can put the wall on top of it. So you can see that across here, it looks like step. And over here, we had to buy a water tank. See the water tank? So we had to buy that water tank over there in order to give them water so that they can make the blocks. So that tank right there, I think it's 3,000 liters it holds. So that tank is going to be the tank that we use for the house to supply water. I'm going to have to get 2 other tanks in addition to that, but we bought it now to use it for this, but it'll stay here until, you know, we have the house built, and we'll be using that to supply water to the house when that time comes. So that's it for now. We're going to do a video with Sammy once he gets here to talk through the stages and everything else. All right, what's up, guys? So I just want to show you how Sammy had things set up here. So he has solar set up. So you have light bulb here. He has a solar panel on the roof. And then if you come inside, it's a little dark in here. You can also see that the guys are set up to live here. So they have mosquito nets, they have their mattresses, so they're all sleeping over here. But if you come inside a little bit, you can see that there's a battery that stores the energy at night so that when it's nighttime, the lights actually do work. So there's no way to store the solar power unless you have a battery or something of this sort, so that it stores it and then it redistributes that power at night. So that's how we have light here at night, so that they can see when they're working out there, but also they can actually see what's going on in here too. But yeah, they actually turned the storage unit into an apartment, basically. They have the beds here, the cement still over there, there's some iron rods here. But yeah, so this is where they'll be staying for the next 45 days, well, less than 45 days. And they've done a good job of getting some work off the ground. So you can tell they're working day and night to try to get this done on time. So I'm back at the site, guys. I'm going to show you what progress we've made so far. So they built all those bricks. We bought that 3,000 liter water tank. That tank is here for now, but it'll also be here when the house is built. But they've already started digging trenches. This guy's coming with more dirt. I think that's for us. All right, cool. So now you got a chance to see what we were thinking, how we envisioned the process of doing all the things that we had to do to build this property. So you also got a chance to see when I came back and did like a second look at it and got a chance to see like how it was looking and the progress that was being done. So you saw that they were digging the trenches. They were doing all the things that you had to do to get the process started for the main gutter and then the main wall itself. So that was the first stage, part 1 of building the wall. The next part we're going to talk about, that next stage, is once they've actually done the digging of the trenches, now it's time to start laying the blocks and all of that stuff. So they built the blocks. In this video, you saw that they started building the blocks, and they did that on site. So they cleared some land. They had to start building the blocks. They had to buy the iron rod and all that kind of stuff. All the equipment had to be bought. So we went through all that in part 1. This is technically part 4 of the larger series, but part 1 of building the wall. And so now in part 2, we'll talk about the next stages of what it was like to continue to build on that wall. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you all in the next video. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, like, comment, and share it with your friends. All right, see you on the next video.